Hi guys, Norm with you again, and today I was just changing over the air filter on my scooter from this humongous horrible airbox to the little K&N filter we can see down there, K&N style filter I should say. It's actually a Moxie filter, and I thought what we'd have a look at today is setting up the carburetor, because obviously when you change the air filter excuse me, you will have to adjust the carburetor, so I thought we'd have a look at that in today's video. And so what we need to do is, if I bring up a spare carburetor. Now these carbs are bloody awful and they will give you trouble at every occasion, and 99% of the problems I've had with these Chinese scooters over 10 years have been with the carburetor. And one main problem is that underneath this intake manifold, under here, which is down under there is a plastic spacer, and that plastic spacer breaks because it contracts and expands with the heat, and it breaks. So if you're trying everything that I'm doing in this video and your carb still isn't working, take off the manifold and have a look at that plastic bush or spacer that's under there, because they are known to crack. And on this one I've actually got an aluminium one that I bought off eBay. What was the brand of it? Nakaru or something? I don't know what it is, but anyway. Yeah, so I put an aluminium one in there, and that hasn't given me any more problems. But what we need to look at today is the inside here. We'll have a look at the float needle, and then when we do all the setting up, there's the mixture screw here, which wants to be all the way in and then out 1.5 turns as a good start, and then we tune it up from there. So let's first take the cap off this, and I'll show you what I need to do with the needle jet. So let me reposition the camera a minute. Alright, now this is what you call a constant vacuum carburetor, which means it all works with the vacuum of everything. So if there is any air leaks in here or anywhere and it's not getting the right air, like vacuum, then it will cause problems. Now you want to undo these screws to take the cap off, and you can see this carb's slightly different to that one, and this has got a metal cap, and you know, they're all slight variations but they're all the same basically. And be careful when you take this lid off, because there is a big spring underneath it, and you obviously don't want to lose that, and you don't want to lose these screws either, so take them out carefully. Obviously I'm doing this on a spare carb because mine's already set up, and I didn't want to take that apart really. Right, there's the big spring and that, so put that somewhere safe. And here is the rubber thing that causes the vacuum, and am I even in shot with that? Yeah. And the vacuum sort of pulls the slide up and down, so obviously you want to just inspect this all the way around. I mean, this one's a bit gammy because it's an old one and it's not much good. So inspect that all the way around, make sure there's no obvious leaks or breaks in it. That's looking good. And then we need to have a look at the excuse me, my voice is going a bit today. And we need to have a look at the needle slide, or the slide needle. I mean, I don't know what it's called, I'm not a professional mechanic, but I've had one of these scooters for about 10 years. Right, I'm going to be careful again. Another little spring in there. Now it will vary how this comes out, But then again, that's it. And let's make sure I get this on camera. Where's the camera? Here we see the focus on it, you bugger. Okay, so I finally got that to focus by holding a bit of paper behind it. And as you can see, there's a little circlip there, and it's on the middle thing there, and that's where it wants to be. If it's on the top or the bottom, you want to move it to the middle, because that is standard position, and that's where it wants to be. So that's good. You might find that it's not adjustable in your carb. Some of them are, some of them are not adjustable. If it's not adjustable, then that's fine. Just put it back in. I say if it is adjustable and somebody's moved it up or down, make sure you put it back in the middle. Okay, so we'll put that back in now. Is it going to refocus on the thing? Yes it is, that's good. Right, and obviously when you're removing that little circlet to move it up or down, just be a bit careful not to actually lose it, because it's very easy for it to ping off. Okay, so put that back in and put the little white cap bit back in. Oops, it's gone upside down. Now this can sometimes be a bit of an awkward thing to get in. Right, so it's funny, some carbs do it a different way and it's easier than others, and this one's a right pig, because every time you put the little thing in, it kind of wants to flip upside down. So that's it, get that in and turn. Okay, that's, I'm leaving on camera that. Yep, that's solid now, so that's in there. So we've made sure that's all clear, and you want to make sure that everything in here, is all clean. If you do find any build up of muck or dirt, as in what we can see on here, then you want to use some sort of carburetor cleaner, something like this sort of stuff. Any good bike shop will sell that sort of stuff, carb cleaner. If you're really stuck, you can get some from Alfred's, but yeah, that's not totally recommended. But okay, so when we put this back in, there's a little notch here, and if you notice, there's a little notch in the rubber, so those have got to line up, and we've also got to line it up with the thing there. That's it. So line up the notch, and then we make sure that it's pushed in all the way around. Okay, and we put in the big spring without it springing off. And on this one, when we put the cap on, it's got a little sticky out bit which sticks over that little lug just to keep it down. Okay, so this is good so far. Actually, this video is going a bit more in depth than I really was going to. I was only going to do like how to tune the carb after putting in another air filter, but well, if we're going all the way, we might as well go all the way. So the next thing really would be to take the bottom cover off and check the float needle and check that fuel is getting through. Now, where's my other screwdriver? There it is. Yep, always handy to have some tools nearby when you're working on stuff. So now obviously if you've been riding the bike, or if the engine's been running, if there's fuel in the carb, you want to open your fuel cap rather, and there's a little drain valve here which will probably have a bit of pipe on it. So you would unscrew that and let the fuel flow into the fuel tank. Although if you're not sure about the fuel, if you bought the scooter and it's in a non-running state, the fuel in it may be no good, so you would then dispose of it in a safe manner and not put it in your fuel tank. Okay, and then so we carry on with the carb strip down. Obviously you would do this on your bench really. It's not an idea to do it on the back of the scooter, but that's where the camera's set up for the minute, so we'll do it here. Okay, and as you can see there's loads of gack and gunk in here, so I would give this a jolly good clean with that carb cleaner. Okay, now we need to check that the floats are lifting up and down, and they are. It's nice. And the main jet is obviously missing from this one. I've obviously used it for something else, but you could take out the main jet and just sort of hold it up to the light. Check you can see light through it. Same with this will unscrew, but not with this pilly little screwdriver, it won't. But you can unscrew that one, just hold it up to the light and you should be able to see a pinhole of light through it. And the same with this, there will be, you can undo this with a little spanner or a pair of pliers. Again, there's some little holes in the side, and you want to make sure they're all clear. And then with the float jet, I haven't got a little, what you would do, there's a little spindle going through here. On some there's a little screw holding it in, on this one there's a little spindle, so you would push the spindle out, but this one's obviously a bit seized and I haven't got a small enough screwdriver to take it out. But you would take that out and just lift that up carefully. There is a little thing on the bottom of there which obviously goes in and closes off the fuel. But what you can do, an easy and quick tip to check whether that is working as it should, is to put a clean bit of pipe on there and blow through it, and when these are hanging down you should be able to blow through it fine, and then as you push these up, so it should stop, and if it does then you know that's fine. Okay, so that's everything in there, so let's put that back on. Good. Right, so we've cleaned all that and that's looking good. It's handy having a spare carburetor to do this sort of thing, because I wouldn't want to be, messing around with my scoot. Although I have messed around with it today because I put another air filter on it. And these really, they're not great at having different air filters fitted. It seems to be you can put a different air filter on, you can upjet it, you can do all sorts of things, but it just seems to run better with the standard air filter. But I have got that one to try, so that will be tried. So what we need to do next is have a look at the choke. Alright, so to check the choke, we need to pull off this plastic cap. That's it. Make sure I'm in focus with that. Yep. Good stuff. And then we want to undo the little screw here, and this may be tight. Oh, bugger. Yeah. Sure enough, he was tight. But alright, so I'm going to take off that bit and then wiggle this out. Come on. So this will be sealed, so I'm going to be a bit careful. Alright, so that's the choke out, and we just want to check, have a look in, where are we? Have a look in here, just make sure there's no crap or junk in there, and that's looking nice. Alright, so here's the choke mechanism, and what happens is like a waxy substance in here, waxy substance in there that heats up, and when that heats up, so this extends and obviously shuts off the choke. And what you can do to test this, if you just get like a 12-volt battery, or you could probably get away with using a little 9-volt battery on it, and connect these two wires to the battery. Oops. If we can see in the plug there. Right. Can I? What's down here? Oh, it doesn't like to focus when it's out in the sun, does it? Anyway. Look. Alright, well we might be able to see it, but anyway, there's two connections in there. It doesn't matter which way around you connect them, but connect them to a 12 volt source and you should start to feel the body of this warm up slightly, and it will take about 5 minutes probably, but then you'll see this slowly expanding. If it doesn't start warming up and this doesn't start expanding, focus. Yeah, if this doesn't start expanding and this doesn't start warming up, then the choke is probably no good and will want replacing. But this one's okay, so we'll put that back in. That's already been tested. Alright, so you've got to be a bit careful getting it back in, that the needle bit lines up with the other bit, and that bit goes in there. Right. Get in, you fucker. Yeah, obviously what you would do is with a rubber seal around here, you would put a bit of oil around that, and that would help it to bed in better and easier. So, but that's okay. So I'm not going to concentrate on that for the minute. So we'll leave that over there out the way. Okay. What else do we need to do? Oh yeah, underneath here there is a rubber thing as well, and we need to check that that's clean. So we would take off these. Blimey, that was tight. Am I focused? Yeah, probably end up finding out that the sun's in the wrong position and the video is completely blanked out when I come to edit it. Sorry. Good God. Alright. Well, anyway, I don't need to really take that off. But needless to say, you take off this, undo those two. There is another little spring in there, so be a bit careful. Again, the little rubber thing, grommet thing, and just make sure that's all looking good. Okay, so that's about it. Obviously check that the slider moves freely, and that's it basically for that. And so now we'll look at actually how you set the carb up. Now what you want to do is this mixture screw. Obviously if the bike isn't running very well, or if it isn't running at all, screw this in all the way in, so it's just touch. You don't force it in, but just screw it in until it just stops. Then take it out half, 1.5 turns, and that should get you in the ballpark. So that's good. And what you can also do is check that there is actually fuel coming down the fuel pipe. Let me reposition the camera down a bit again so we can see the actual whoops. We are. Got that off. Focus. Yep. So the fuel pipe is here going into the carb, and it's got a vacuum activated fuel tap on the petrol tank, and this pipe over here is the activation for the vacuum fuel tap. So what you can do, pull off that pipe, pull off this pipe, put this pipe into a container of some sort, suck on that pipe, or put a bit of clean pipe just over the end of it and suck on it, and you should see fuel flowing from here. If you don't, there could be a problem with the fuel tank. But if you suck on that, fuel comes out from there, you know the fuel tap is good. Although sometimes fuel flows and it doesn't shut off, in which case you might want to replace that fuel tap, but that's okay. Another thing with these is, if someone's been revving it, like revving the throttle when it's not started, that will cause it to flat out and it just will not start. So you don't want to be over revving it when it's not started, because that will flood the carb, because it's got a little sort of intake jet thing here that helps to give it a boost when you first give it full throttle. And so if you keep revving it and the scooter's not running, then that can cause a problem. Okay, so what you need to do now, we need to fire the bike up. Now, let me see, got the camera in the way and everything now. Now the tripod is resting on the bike, so that ain't clever, is it? Because that's going to rattle when I start it. Alright, that's not going to work, is it? Let me move the camera. Alright, so what we need to do before we actually tune up the carburetor, provided the scooter will actually start, which it should do, provided you've checked the gasket under there, provided you've checked there's fuel flowing, and we've checked all the carb out before. So what you need to do is really leave it to warm up for about 10 minutes before you actually make the adjustments, else the adjustments will be completely out. So I'll just start it up now. How do I turn the key on? Okay. So that's actually not sounding too bad at the minute. And that's, oops, obviously that stalled as the choke came off, so let me just give it a bit more on the throttle stop. So I'm going to have to okay, so that's just screwed in the throttle stop, and just to keep it revving for a bit. So the revs will probably die back a bit when the choke cuts off. The revs will probably die back a bit. But so we just need to leave it here to warm up for 3 minutes, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so hopefully you can hear me over the sound of the engine. So what we need to do now, we're ready to adjust the mixture screw. So we need to just set this throttle stop so it's just revving a little bit higher than normal. Okay, and then we need to go down and adjust the, turn off. Now we need to go down and adjust the mixture screw. Now what I'll do is I'll start off slowly turning it inwards, and chances are it'll start dying out, and in which case you want to then gradually bring it back out, and you will hear the engine revs rise, and they'll get to a point where it won't rise anymore. So then you screw back in until it just starts dropping off again, and then just notch it back so it's on the full revs. Obviously if you start turning it inwards and it starts accelerating, then you want to keep going inwards and do the same thing until it won't accelerate no more, and then just notch it back a bit. Okay, so we just do that now. I'll remember to there we go. Now, this can be quite awkward to get to, but we can hopefully get it from here. Alright, so I'm going to start turning it inwards now, and you can hear it dropping off. So I go back out, and you do it slowly, little bit at a time. And now we can start to hear it building up. So I keep turning it. Still building. Yep, building up now, you can hear it. You can keep going a little bit more. Okay, now it's not accelerating anymore. And now you just turn it back in. So it just starts dying off. There it is. So we just back out the knot. Keep it into position. Okay. So all we have to do now is ease off this now to give us a good tick over. So you see, just slowly. I'm going to rev it a couple of times. Just let it settle down. That's not sounding too bad actually. I'll probably take it back a little bit more. Yep, so that's sounding really nice, and that's under that lovely smooth running engine. So there you go guys, hope you found that useful, and that's how to tune up one of these Chinese 4-stroke carbs. Thanks for watching, cheers for now.